What's going on, replay viewers? To all my live viewers, what's going on? It's Roger Green Jr. here. Hope everybody's doing well today. Coming here from Charlotte, North Carolina. It's still raining here. New Year's Eve. Hope you're doing well. As you all come in, those of you that are replay viewers, you know the drill. You can definitely share as many hearts as you like to share. Be generous. We love the hearts. We love the love. What's going on, everybody, as you're joining in? If you could do me a favor, I'd love if you would share with your followers at this time. It would be great. We would greatly appreciate it. I want to get as many people in the room as possible. Thank you, Leanne Riley 50, for inviting your followers. Definitely you can share on Twitter as well if you like to, so that we can get as many people in the room as possible. Where are you guys from? Tell me where you're from. Tell me what you guys got going on today on this New Year's Eve. I want to talk today about the exercise bike approach. I'm loving my portable seminary. Great. I'm glad, along with the Greek and Hebrew Bible. Great. I love to hear that. I love to hear when people have gotten books that I've recommended, and it's a blessing to them. Trust me, that's one of my clutch books. I'm in that book all the time. What's going on, Canada? Glad to have Canada in the house. I used to go to Canada all the time when I would go to Detroit. I would cross over the border and go shopping and do some of those things. So I love my Canadian folk. Hey, Keely Raven. Glad to have you in the place. Y'all, please follow Keely Raven. She does excellent business scopes. She does biz scopes for the biz peeps. She also does a promote your scope as well. So definitely follow her. She's a very, very great person on Periscope. From Windsor. Great. I love my Canadian people. So today we're going to talk about, can I do a scope on finding their scriptures missing out of NIV? Yeah, I plan on doing that. Ironically enough, somebody just asked me to do a scope on that, on the comparisons between the KJV and the NIV Bible. And I'll definitely do that. I'll probably do that next week. I'll make sure that I do that next week. I wanted to talk today a little bit about the exercise bike effect and the seesaw effect. So those of you that saw it in the title, I know most of you were like, what are you talking about? What are you alluding to? And I'll just jump right on in it. I don't intend to take up a lot of time on this scope, but first I'll talk about the exercise bike effect. And what I equate life to sometimes, many of us, when we get into the business sector or we're in ministry or whatever your occupation is, sometimes we have what I like to call the exercise bike approach, where we're constantly busy. We're in the rat race. We're constantly in motion, but we're really not going anywhere. If you look at the exercise bike, you can burn some calories, but you're not really going anywhere. It's not like normal cycling where you're actually getting to see scenery and you're moving and it's forward progress. You're exerting a lot of energy. You burn calories, but you're not really accomplishing anything. So as we go into the new year, I wanted to encourage you to get rid of the exercise bike approach to life, the exercise bike approach to ministry or to business or to whatever you're doing. What I learned a long time ago is that all busyness is not productive. You can be busy doing nothing. Hey, what's going on, ATL? Glad to have you. Have to run, but catch the replay. Definitely, please catch the replay by all means. And for those of you that are just joining in, please share with your followers. It'd be greatly appreciated. So as I mentioned, just being busy does not necessarily mean that you're accomplishing anything. We can see a lot of people. Great. Catch the replay. For those of you that's just joining in, my name is Roger Green. I appreciate you joining in. What's going on, Tommy Brewer 20? Glad to have you. Please share with your followers. Christopher Pierce, glad to have you. We love if you share with your followers. And definitely please give me hearts. Let me know that I'm on task. Let me know that you're in the building. Excited to be here. Glad to have you here. What's going on? That's Lori Butler. Y'all please follow my sis. She's new to Periscope, but she has some phenomenal things that she's doing. Lori, put up some emojis so that the people can see your comment. And when they see your comment, they can follow you. So if you can do that, Lori, she has some phenomenal things to help you with your lifestyle and help you organize your lifestyle. Lori Butler, I've known her my entire life. Great mentor of mine down through the years. An academician par excellence. She is very knowledgeable on a lot of different subjects, so please follow her. Hey, CR Barlow, glad to have you in the place. Thank you all for the hearts as well. So as I mentioned, the exercise bike approach is where you're exerting a lot of energy. You're paddling. You're doing a lot of great things. No problem, Lori. You're doing a lot of great things, but it's really not productive. You're really not going anywhere. You're really not seeing any changes of scenery. You're really not having any forward movement or forward progress, but you're just steady pedaling. And, you know, you're sweating, you're exerting a lot of energy, but you're really not accomplishing possibly what you want to accomplish. What I learned a long time ago, you have to be very strategic and very targeted in your approach to what you do. When you're wanting to fulfill a particular goal or wanting to progress and maximize your full potential, maximize the level of your organization, have to be very strategic, be very goal-oriented. Don't just jump out there with no plan. Most of us don't plan to fail, but we fail to plan. So when I say that, don't have the exercise bike approach to life where you're just paddling but not really going anywhere. So when we talk about that exercise bike approach as we approach the new year, I want you to really be targeted, be very specific. I mentioned in a previous scope that if you're just now, thank you, I'm glad you like the content, thank you. I mentioned in the previous scope, if you're just now casting your vision for 2016, you're behind the curve. You should have started that back in October. In fact, every year when I'm casting my vision for the next year, I start in October. Because if I cast my vision in December or in January, most of the time I lose momentum, and by the time I really build up the momentum to do what I want to do, I've missed the entire first quarter of the new year. So I try to start in October. In fact, the United States government, their fiscal year ends in October. It doesn't end in December, it ends in October. So for many of us, with myself, I've adapted that mindset that in October, I'm thinking about the new year. So for those of you that want to cast vision for, years as you go on down the road, cast your vision started in October so that by December, you have enough momentum going into the new year that you're not trying to build up additional momentum and you miss the first quarter of the new year. Most of us do that. We wait to late December, early January to decide what we want to do for the new year. And by the time we build that momentum up, we've missed the entire first quarter. And could you imagine missing the entire first quarter of momentum? That's why it always seems like we're never really accomplishing what we want to accomplish for that year, because possibly you waited too late to cast that vision and to really start forth. So don't have the exercise bike approach this coming year. Be very specific, very, very meticulous, very methodical with your approach when you're going forth trying to do something new, especially when you're doing a new venture. When you're doing a new venture, plan. Prepare. It's nothing worse than being thrust into a moment and not being prepared. Some of us have seen that, possibly if you were in school or in college, if you ever had an opportunity where you were unprepared for a test, it's nothing worse than sitting right there in that test and being unprepared. And sometimes it's like that in life when we have that exercise bike approach. We're just busy bees, but not really targeted, not really honed into what we want to accomplish. Because what I found sometimes, what I learned is sometimes you can find yourself being busy doing stuff, and when you really stop and think about it, it's stuff that you don't even want to do. It's stuff that you really are not excited about doing. Sometimes you can get caught up in doing things for people, and you look back on it and say, man, I'm really not doing what I feel is fulfilling in my life. So I don't want you to just be busy. I want you to be productive. That's the operative thing. I don't want you to just be busy, but I want you to be productive in 2016. Find a way to be productive and have progress and begin to check off things on your list that, you previously had stumbled by because you didn't have a plan. All right. That's the exercise bike approach. The next is the seesaw effect. I call this the seesaw effect, taking it back to our childhood, where you go up and down on the seesaw and you have one person on one side, another person on the other side. And basically the momentum of one person, as the weight drops down, the other person comes up. And it's very fun because you go back and forth and you volley back and forth. But one thing that I learned about it very early on, most of us learned early on the seesaw, is your success is a lot of times on the seesaw contingent upon the person on the other side. So what happens is if you're on the top and the person on the bottom decides to jump off, then you immediately come crashing to the ground. And what I found is a lot of people have placed so much trust and so much, I guess, weight with other people on your decision making, on your business opportunities, on your relationships. And what happens is it's fine when you're volleying back and forth, but when that person decides to jump off, then you typically come crashing down to the ground. So get off the seesaw in 2016. Stop letting people control your happiness. Stop letting people control what your destiny is. Stop letting people decide what is fulfilling for you. Stop letting people decide what you're gifted at. You know, it doesn't matter if a few people are not with your venture or not with what you have or what you bring to the table. Get off the seesaw. What's going on, Denzel Tubbs? Glad to have you, bro. We're talking about the exercise bike approach and the seesaw effect. And just to restart, yes, sir. Just to restart for those of you that are just joining in, we said the exercise bike approach is just like when you're on the exercise bike, you're exerting a lot of energy, you're moving, you're burning calories, but you're not really going anywhere. It's a stationary bike. And a lot of us have an exercise bike approach to life, to where we're busy, but we're not productive. We're doing a lot of stuff. We're exerting a lot of energy. We're stressed to the max, but we're stationary. We haven't gone anywhere. And we go throughout the entire year and we say, man, I was really busy in that year, but you really didn't accomplish anything. So I want to get you off that exercise bike approach and really be honed in, be meticulous, be methodical, be very specific in what you want to accomplish. Make a plan, have something very designated and targeted so that you won't be on that exercise bike. You'll be able to move and navigate and to move forward. Then we talked about the seesaw approach, where we said that the childhood seesaw, how it goes back and forth. It's very fun until the person decides to jump off on you. And when the person decides to jump off on you, typically you come crashing to the ground. So a lot of times in our ventures, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's church or ministry, a lot of times we're on this seesaw, and our success is contingent on how people feel and how the other people in our lives interact with us. And if they don't agree with what we're doing, if they don't like what we're doing, if they don't jive with what my concept is, they can jump off, and then immediately my concept comes crashing to the ground. So I want you to be able to be stable and in 2016, so that you're not on this constant seesaw where people are playing with your emotions, playing with your mind, playing with your heart. I want you to be able to get off of that and go on to perfection, because that seesaw will always be dependent upon the weight of the next person. So when they're lifting you up, you're up. When they decide to go up, you come down, and it's this constant volleying. So I've seen that in a lot of times in a lot of ventures, whether it's business or whether it's in ministry or whether it's in relationships, that your happiness volleys back and forth depending upon people. But I want to free you from that. I want you in 2016 to go forth. I want you to be victorious. I want you to decide, look, if God has this for me, it's for me. If God has ordained this for me, if he's birthed some things in my life, I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to let people's opinions and decisions volley me back and forth. I'm not going to let people saying that, you know, I'm not as gifted or talented as they think I should be. If God is birthing in you, I promise you, God will open up doors for you. Did he not do it for Moses? Moses couldn't even speak. He couldn't talk. He had a speech impediment. And he said, God, you know, I don't feel like I can go to Pharaoh and tell him this. But God enabled him and also put people around him to support him to be able to go where he needed to go. God put it, say, look, your brother Aaron, he can be your spokesperson. Your brother Aaron can do some things for you. What's going on, M. Blake 19? Glad to have you in the place. So I want you not to be intimidated this year. I want you to not be in the place where you're struggling and volleying between, how people treat you and what their opinions are and what they think. I want you to be in a posture and a position to move forward and to be able to grow. Get off the seesaw. Stop letting people volley you back and forth. That, when they're happy, you're happy. When they're sad, that you come crashing down to the ground. I want you to get off that seesaw. For those of you that's just joining in, we're talking about the seesaw effect and the exercise bike effect. And the exercise bike effect in a nutshell is where you're exerting a lot of this energy, you're moving, but it's a stationary bike. you're not really moving forward. And I said previously, before those of you that's joining in, that all busyness is not being productive. Sometimes we can be very busy but not productive. So this year I want you to be productive, be targeted, be meticulous, be methodical with your approach. Know where you're going, know what you want to do, write out a plan, write the vision, make it plain, run with it, go with it. Go in full force. I know some people right now have really been struggling and vacillating between these points, saying, God, I really want to do something different. I want to do some things to fulfill my destiny and my goal and my dreams. Have this burning desire, but you're on that seesaw because you're so worried about what people think. I promise you, if you ever want to free yourself, you ever want to get the greatest freedom, get free from people. And I don't say that in a bitter standpoint to where you have to be recluse and be an introvert and get away from people and not interact. No, interact with people, love them. I'm very sociable. I love people, but I don't let people dictate what I know God has told me and the things that He's called me to do. So I want you to have that confidence. I want you to have that assurance. I want you to have that victory. I want you to go forth in that thing that God has been burning inside of you. When you have that burning desire to do certain things, that's God putting that in you. When God put that burning desire in it's motivation, literally. It's literally God's motivation of saying, look, I'm trying to get you to another place. I'm trying to move you from another place. And sometimes it gets uncomfortable. I look in Psalms 23, very familiar passage of scripture that we say, He says, thy rod and thy staff shall comfort you. What does that mean? When we look at it in its original context, what it's basically saying, the shepherd has a rod. The rod is the long or elongated part of the stick. The staff is the circular part. So what it is, thy rod and thy staff shall comfort me. A lot of times the shepherd would use the rod to just guide the sheep along. This is where I want you to go. You go where I lead you. And I'm just guiding you along. Whenever the sheep would get out of the scope of where the shepherd wanted him to be, when he got to the point where it was a little out of the shepherd's reach, he would take the circular part, the staff, the rod and the staff, he would take it and he would bring it upon their neck and bring them back in gently. Hey, come back in. So sometimes God does that to us. Sometimes He's just guiding us where we need to go. And then there's times where He just bringing us back and say, look, I need you to get back to the place that I need you to be because you're getting off course. So I don't know who I'm talking to today. I hope this is an encouragement to you. I want you to get off that exercise bike approach, and I want you to get off the seesaw and begin to have forward movement, forward progress, be able to go into 2016 with power and with victory. I want you to be able to do things that you never thought you could do before. Why? Because you're going to be prepared for it. And when you're prepared for something, there's no stopping you. It's said that NBA stars like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, some of them shoot up about 1,500 shots per day, per practice. Amen. I'm glad you receive it. They shoot about 1,500 shots per day. Now, LeBron or Kobe or any superstar in the NBA at their best probably shoots about, 30 shots during a game, NBA game. But they've prepared 1,500 times for 30 opportunities. Y'all didn't get that. They've prepared 1,500 times per day for 30 opportunities. How much are you preparing for your opportunities that God has in your path for 2016? You have to prepare more than you execute. And what I mean by that is your preparation should be longer than even the experience of the execution of the plan. So be prepared for everything. Be prepared for every opportunity. Tap screen, give us heart. Thank you. I appreciate it. If I'm adding value to you, please, by all means, give some hearts. If you haven't invited with your followers, by all means, do that as well. Because I just want you to go forth in victory. I know what it's like feeling like, God, I don't know, if I should do this. I never forget when God called me into ministry, called me to preach. I really felt inadequate. I felt, God, I don't know enough scripture. I'm not articulate enough. I don't know enough people. God, I don't feel like I should be your mouthpiece. Possibly I'm not perfect enough. And we all have those. Those are normal things that we all think that possibly I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. I'm not ready. But God used me mightily in college to do campus ministry, and I was able, with myself and a partner, to start college campus ministries up and down the East Coast. I believe by the time we phased ourselves out of it, it was about 15 college campuses up and down the East Coast, from UNC Charlotte to UNC Greensboro, North Carolina A&T, North Carolina Central, Morgan State University, Wingate University, Central Piedmont Community College. It was a plethora of colleges that we started campus ministries from our dorm. And it grew from there to thousands of young people just because we had a passion to do what God wanted us to do. And I didn't know everything. I promise you, I still don't know everything. I felt like I was a novice as it related to the scriptures, and I probably was back then. That was about 20 years ago. But God has grown from there. So whether you're just starting your journey, you're in the middle of your journey, or you're at a place where you've been going for a while, I want you to be encouraged and know that God has you in mind. He said, I know the thoughts that I have for you, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. He has an expected end, that just like he told Jeremiah, before you were even formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. God said, I knew you before your parents knew you. I knew you before you were even conceived. I knew you before you were even named, because he is the author and the finisher of our faith. So don't let what people say, don't let people write your book. Don't let people write your story, because God is basically saying, I am the author and the finisher of your story. Don't let them dictate who you are. Don't let your family say you're just going to be just like your uncle. You're going to be just like your aunt or your mother. They never did anything. They never left this town. They never did this. Stop letting people dictate that. All right. So God bless you all. I'm going to let you all go. My battery is running low, so I don't want it to cut off on you all. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Nicole, victoriously, I hope you have a wonderful day. That's one of your favorite scriptures, one of my favorites as well, Lori. So you all be blessed. Those of you that just joined in, catch the replay. And by all means, I hope it was a blessing to you. I'll probably come on and scope with you all a little later, but definitely follow M Blake 19, follow Lori Butler. Those of you that are in the room, follow some of these great people. Listen, I'm not the authority on everything. I love Periscope because it allows us to network and connect with each other and to grow and let iron sharpen iron. So you guys definitely be blessed. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I definitely will be scoping with you later before we go into the new year. All right. Have a wonderful day. Happy New Year as well.